friends, it's a new video today. I thought I've done bookshelf tours before, but they've always been my red shelf. Today I wanted to do a tour of my TBR shelf. These are all of the physical books that I own, that I have on my TBR, and hopefully I get around to reading them someday. And before I get started with the shelves behind me, I will show you the books that I have on my book card, or my sort of TBR card, which mostly contains books that I am currently working on, but I also have a couple of books that I haven't started on back from the day when I did the TBR unwrappings. And today I'm not going to talk about those that I have on my currently reading, that I've started but not finished. They will be in that video that I recently did. You will be able to see it if you click on the link above and see what books I have on there. But right now I'm going to talk about those that are not started, barely touched it, but at least not started yet. And that, you know, all of my books on my TBR. I don't know how many there are. I believe there are like 300, somewhere around that. We'll see. First up, we have the Amber Chronicles. I have made it through a lot of this, but this I don't see as a book in its I've started. This is a series I've started. Nala, this is a series I've started, and I have book 8, 9, and 10 left. 3 books left in this series, and so I don't consider it as one I'm currently reading, but I have 3 books on here. So those are the first 3 books on my physical TBR. Similarly, I have The Darkest Rising sequence by Susan Cooper, where I've read the first 2 stories, but I have 3 stories left. Greenwich, The Grey King, and Silver of the Tree. My cat wants to play with my Christmas tree. It's a good thing I've planned on putting everything down today. Cannot deal with it anymore. Next up, we have The Beekeeper's Apprentice by Laurie R. King. I have a feeling I will end up loving this series. It's Sherlock Holmes, it's mystery, and I've found out that I really enjoy Laurie R. King's writing, so can't wait to dive into this series. Then I have The Unexpected Everything by Morgan Matson, a YA contemporary romance. We have Codename Verity by Elizabeth Vine, a YA historical fiction. Next up, we have The Winner's Curse by Mary Rutkowski, the first book in the Winner's cycle or trilogy. I don't know, maybe it's called The Winner's Curse, The Winner's Curse, The Winner's Trilogy. So I was incorrect that it was The Winner's. I have The Bazaar of Bad Dreams by Stephen King. This is a short story collection of his. I have been reading his books in sort of publication order, so I have a while to go. So yeah. Then I have Don't Tell the Groom by Annabelle. I think it's a contemporary romance. I'm not sure if I like it, but I will give it a go. Next up, we have Lost Gods by Micah Youngo. This one is a YA fantasy. Next we have The City and the City by China Mayville. I think it's the new weird sort of sci-fi fantasy blend. And we have Behind the Mask, an anthology of heroic proportions by Tricia Reese and Kyle Richardson. I believe this is sort of what superheroes does when they're not doing their superhero stuff. So not sure how I feel about it, but it's relatively short. I haven't been in the mood for short story collections, and so I haven't picked it up. Now those are the books that I had on my TBR card. The rest of the books are on my shelves, and I will go on talk about them one by one. Hello, it's me from the future editing me. I remembered that I have some books that I haven't shown you. It's because they are actually at my red shelf. I am considering moving them to this shelf again, because I think they take up a lot of space, and I don't have super much space on my red shelf right now, without having to start double stacking again. So I might try and find another place for them, and then these will be mixed in within every other book. But I do have 3 classics and a bunch of SF masterworks that I haven't shown you yet. So for the classics, I have North and South by Elizabeth Gaskell. These are in the Penguin Classics, very common. These are the same, they have also the hardbacks, and they have the same sort of on the cover. Sometimes the color schemes are not well picked, but I like at least these 3 I have here. And then I have Middlemarch by George Eliot. I actually forgot to add this to my TBR because it's one I have started. Very little of it. I'm on page 44, but I forgot about it, so I'm mentioning it here. It's 900 pages, I think. And then I have The Tenet of Wildfield Hall by Anne Bronte. Yeah, obviously one of the Bronte sisters classics. Now we're getting to the SF Masterworks collection. First up I have Fearsome Engine by Ian M. Banks. This is sort of a hard copy edition. Her Smoke Rose Up Forever by James Tiptree Jr. This is a sort of short story collection. And I have A Grass by Sherry S. Tepper. Also a masterwork, obviously. Life During Wartime by Lucius Shepard. The Word for World is Forest by Ursula K. Le Guin. The Female Man by Joanna Russ. Rendezvous with Rama by Arthur C. Clarke. The Left Hand of Darkness by Ursula K. Le Guin. Flowers for Algernon by Daniel Keyes. Monday Starts on Saturday by Arkady and Boris Strugatsky. And The Sirens of Titan by Kurt Vonnegut. And last and finally, The Lathe of Heaven by Ursula K. Le Guin. Another one that I started and forgot in my current reading thing. I made it to page 40. So, yeah. And last and finally, I also do have one fantasy masterwork. And that is The Forgotten Beasts of Eld by Patricia A. McKillip. So those are all of my books that I had not on these shelves. So let's get on with the bookshelf tour. You'd think that I don't have it, like I'm filming late in the day, but it's the middle of the day. It's only like noon. So here we have the first part, which is also a blend. There are a couple here that I have on my I've started, these three and this one. But the first one here is Ruins of Gollum by John Flanagan, the first book in the Ranger's Apprentice series. Then we have Ella Enchanted by Gail Carson Levine. I have When Gracie Met the Grump by Mariana Zapata. Need to get to that one. It's not on my TBR list for the year, but I still really want to read it. The Peach Keeper by Sarah Addison Allen. Also one I really can't wait to get to. House of Many Ways by Diana Wynne Jones, the last and final book in the House Moving Castle series. Can't wait to read that one. And then we have Etiquette and Espionage by Gail Carriger, which is on my TBR long list. We have The Gauntlet by Karuna Riazzi. And last one up here is The Queen of the Tearling by Erika Johansson. I'm pretty sure I have an audio for some of these, so I will listen to them in audio form. Now all of my TBR books, my shelves here are cubicles. And I have books behind the books. So maybe I should pick these out first. So as you can see, I have a stack of books behind this. They are generally sequels. So I have Wyoming Cowboy Marine and Undercover Justice by Nico Rosso. The first one's by Nicole Helm. This is because I need to read the next Nicole Helm books. I have Wyoming Cowboy Ranger by Nicole Helm and Within Range by Janice K. Johnson. Wyoming Cowboy Bodyguard by Nicole Helm and Killer Investigation by Amanda Stevens. I have Snowbound Suspicion and Wyoming Cowboy Sniper by Nicole Helm. Snowbound Suspicion was by Cindy Myers. Then I have Skullduggery Pleasant Playing with Fire, the second book in the Skullduggery series. So now I am aware that I have only one, because I always put them in the same place. I have the next book, or the 9th book in the Chicagoland Vampire series, which is called Wild Things. And then I have The Subtle Knife by Philip Pullman and The Amber Spyglass, also by Philip Pullman, which are book 2 and 3 of the Dark Material series. That's what it's called. Next up I have Amerikanske Guder, American Gods by Neil Gaiman. The House of Special Purpose by John Boyne. The Language of Thorns by Leigh Bardugo. This is a sort of fairy tale set in the Grisha-verse. Of Blood and Honey by Stina Licht. Dangerous Women by George R. R. Martin and Gardner Dozois. Caraval by Stephanie Garber. Because You Love to Hate Me, edited by Amory, which is 13 Tales of Villainy stuff, where they are sort of picked, the sort of theme I think was picked by booktubers. I got a fantasy arc of Ren by Charity W. Kelly. Feel bad that I never got around to read that one. And then I have The Chemist or Chemicon by Stephanie Meyer. That was the first cube. Again, multiple books in the back. I think I might... Oh, there are sort of leafy stuff in here. I think I have a flower stuff. Whew. I don't know where this cut off, but I have 2 Black Dagger Brotherhoods behind here. I'm not sure which one is first. Lover Avenged, Lover Enshrined. Then I have 3 books by Jennifer Radin, another one by The Dust, Biting the Bullet, and Bitten to Death, book 2 to 3 in the series. Next up, I have the books 2 to 5 of the Long Earth series by Stephen Baxter, and I'm not sure what order. I think this is the second one, called The Long War, The Long Mars, The Long Utopia, and The Long Cosmos. I think I'm gonna do this here, like that. Next up, I have The Borrowers Omnibus by Mary Norton. This is sort of 4 books in one, or 5. It's The Borrowers Afield, The Borrowers Afloat, and The Borrowers Aloft. I think it was a sort of a 50s, 60s book. It was published in 1952. I'm pretty sure these were lying down. Rebel Spring by Morgan Rose, the second book in the Fallen Kingdom series. The Aeronaut's Windlass by Jim Butcher, the first book in the Cinder Spires. Robots vs. Fairies edited by Dominique Perrison and Nava Wolfe, sort of a sci-fi fantasy blend. The Creeping by Alexander Silvori. The Glittering Court by Rochelle Mead. Slangens Ring, I forgot the, hold on. The Sanctuary by Raymond Corey. Odin's Island, Odins Ø by Janne Teller. Some Kind of Wonderful by Giovanna Fletcher. Hold on, there's something wrong here. And finally, Raven Girl by Audrey Niffenegger. We put them upside down. I'm pretty sure they were lying down before, but right now I can't figure out how it was. Again, more sequels behind the books. First up we have, this one should actually get in the front now, because this is next in the series. This is Caressed by Ice by Nalini Singh. And then I have Mind to Possess, the 4th book. I have A Close and Common Orbit by Becky Chambers. A Letter of Mary by Laurie R. King, the 2nd book in the Beekeeper's Apprentice series. And a Monstrous Regiment of Women by Laurie R. King again. I think also a sequel. I don't know which one is first. I don't remember. And then I have Witch Week by Diana Wynne Jones, the 3rd book, I believe, in the Chrestomanci series. And last and finally, behind this, on this stack, we have the Greek Children's Doctor. But I'm pretty sure I've read this one and I bought 2 copies of it by mistake. I'm pretty sure, because this is by Sarah Morgan, I needed the last one, and that's not this one. Dawn of Deep Silence by Carrie Ryan. Kiss of Deception by Mary E. Pearson. The Strawberry Hearts Diner by Carolyn Brown. Elatsue by Darcy Little Badger. The Dreadful Tale of a Prosper Redding by Alexandra Bracken. Smoke and Mirrors by Neil Gaiman. The Bane Chronicles by... These are short stories by Cassandra Clare, Sarah Reese Brennan, and Maureen Johnson, set in the Shadow universe. Bitter by Kwei Kim Emisi. I have the pet on my TBR. Biting Cold by Chloe Neal, the next book in the Chicagoland Vampire series. The Book of 1,000 Days by Shannon Hale. The Long Earth by Terry Pratchett. This one should have been on my currently reading thing, but I forgot about it. I haven't read very much, and I don't know when I started this one. Pushing the Limits by Katie McGarry. And finally, Pet by Kweki Amisi. I have a couple of novellas from the House of Night series where I've gotten rid of all of the House of Night books, but apparently I kept the novellas. And they are Dragon's Oath and Lenobia's Vow. I'm not sure. I think Dragon's Oath is first and Lenobia's Vow is second. And Dragon's Oath is after Awakened, apparently, which I've definitely read. Next up I have books 2 and 3 in the Young Elite series called The Rose Society and The Midnight Star. I have The Body at the Tower by Y.S. Lee, the second book in the Agency series. We have Jacobi by William Ritter. This is on my TBR long list for 2025. Blandt skovens skygger og Amongst the Forest. Yeah, something about the shadows in the forest. It's a novella collection of horror novels. I have the second and the third one as well. We have Violent Ends by... it is a novel in 17 point of views. And I think it's edited by Sean David Hutchinson. These Witches Won't Burn by Isabel Sterling. And we have The Queens of Geek by Jen Wilde. Resurgent by A.J. Flower. This was an ARC I received. The Seven Deaths of Evelyn Hardcastle by Stuart Turton. Spellslinger by Sebastian de Castell. The Once and Future King, a classic Arthurian epic by T.H. White. And then Fluff Dragon by Platt F. Clark, the second book in the Bad Unicorn trilogy. My niece made this unicorn pearly thing for me. I think it was for my birthday, so obviously it hangs here. In the back here I have 3 books from a Danish fantasy series. First, På 11 fødder on 11 feet by Mikkel Vendelbo. This has a sort of dinosaurs and elves fantasy stuff. The Soul Thief story by Mikkel Vendelbo, the 4th part of the series. And we have The Revenge of the Prince, or Duke, by Mikkel Vendelbo. Fürsten is a different word for a prince. That's what you call like Russian royals stuff. Finally, I have Battle Mage by Taran Matharu, book 3 in the Summoner series. A Conjuring of Light by V. Swab, the 3rd and final book in the Shades of Magic series. Didn't love the series so far. Gave the first 3 stars, the second one 2 stars. So yeah. I have The Missing by Kelly Armstrong, My Life Next Door by Huntley Fitzpatrick, and Little House in the Big Woods by Laura Ingalls Wilder. Blid af Natten by F. Scott Fitzgerald, or Tender as the Night. Landline by Rainbow Rowell. The Ask and the Answer by Patrick Ness. Have I finished the first one? No, not sure. I might actually DNF the whole series at some point. Hold on. Carry On by Rainbow Rowell. Among Others by Joe Walton. Underground Railroad by Colson Whitehead. And finally on this shelf we have Between Shades of Grey by Ruta Sepetys, one that's also on my TBR long list. I have 2 books that I got from the library. They are books 2 and 3 in a series. First up we have Farligt Blod, or Ink Exchange, the second book in that series. Flygtig Evighed, or Fragile Eternity, the third. I think the final book in the series is by Melissa Marr. I have the first one somewhere. Sister's Fate by Jessica Spotswood, the third book in the Cahill Witch Chronicles. Loved the first one. YA urban fantasy. Nowhere But Here by Katie McGarry. I have to read the Pushing the Limits series before I can get to this series because it's a spin-off. So it lies here until I get to that point or figure out if I want to read it. Steampunk, a collection of short stories. I think it's YA mainly. Holly Black, Cassandra Clare and Garth Nix. Bruised by Sarah Skilton. This is a contemporary YA, I think, Well After, by Susan E., a sort of post-apocalyptic YA series. Paris Adrift by E.J. Swift. I think this is sort of steampunk science fiction. Empress of a Thousand Skies by Rhoda Belleza, sci-fi in space, I believe. King of Bones and Ashes by J.D. Horn. Dorothy Must Die by Daniel Page. Shadow Queen by C.J. Redwine. Nobody's Princess by Esther Friesner. The Bird Giant by Kazuo Ishiguro. Honor's Night by Rachel Bach. Second book in the series, sci-fi YA. Blackwing by Ed McDonald. Big Little Lies by Liane Moriarty. This is on my TBR long list of the year, for the year. And finally, I have The Children's Doctor Special Proposal by Kate Hardy, the second book in the series. I read the first one for my medical line project. At the back here we have Crown of Midnight by Sarah J. Maas. Monster of Men by Patrick Ness. I'm still not sure if I'm actually continuing with the series, but I have it. Shadow's Edge by Brent Weeks, and Beyond the Shadows by Brent Weeks. I think this is the Night Angel trilogy. Yeah. Wicked Lovely by Melissa Marr. This is the first book, and I showed you the library books that I have of the second and third. Yeah, I think it's sort of paranormal YA, like Twilight-ish. Do Not Disturb by A.R. Torr, the second book to The Girl in 6E. Darling by Rachel Edwards. This was one that was gifted to me by an Instagrammer. Very, very happy about that. A Quiet Kind of Thunder by Sarah Bernard. I actually started this and I think I forgot it in my current reading, so that's on my list as well. I think I read the first 76 pages. I kind of liked it. 172 Hours on the Moon by Johan Harstad. I think this is YA horror. Relatively new acquired book. Double Milton Boone Heroes with Cold Case Identity by Nicole Helm and Monster in the Marsh by Carla Cassidy. The Girl Who Circumnavigated Fairyland in a Ship of Her Own Making by Catherine M. Valente. I think this is middle grade fantasy, but for sophisticated kids. Rogues by a short story collection edited by George R.R. Martin and Gardner Dozois. I'm going to like this one more than Dangerous Women, but we'll see. The Extinction Trials by S.M. Wilson. This is a YA science fiction-ish fantasy thing with sort of a game that features dinosaurs. The Inquisition by Taryn Matheru. This is on my TBR long list for the year. And Woman on the Edge of Time by Marge Piercy. This is one of the shelves that I have a lot of books on because it's all over mass market and they are stacked weirdly. In the back here I have a copy of Limousine Advocaten or The Lincoln Lawyer by Michael Connolly. I think this is the beginning of a series. I'm not sure if I'm going to be liking it, but I have it. I feel like this is a movie cover. Is it? I don't know. Anyway, it's behind here because I don't know if I'm actually ever going to be reading it. So maybe I should get rid of it, but you know. The Burning Bridge by John Flanagan, the second book in the Ranger's Apprentice series. I had the first book on my TBR long list. I think I mentioned that. And Wrath by John Gwynne. I'm currently reading Ruin, the third book in the series. This is the final book in the Faithful and the Fallen series. And I can't wait to finish this. It's a long process. So, and then I have Words of Radiance by Brandon Sanderson, the second book in the Stormlight Archive. It says on the back, front there. I don't know why it escaped me. And then Edge Dancer is a novella in the Stormlight Archives right after Words of Radiance, I believe. Then I have Swords Point by Ellen Kushner. This is what I got because of Rhea from the Book Fin. She absolutely loved this book. Stolen by Kelly Armstrong. This is the second book in the Women of the Other World. It's a paranormal romance. I like Kelly Armstrong's writing. Then I have Lord of the Fading Lands by C.L. Wilson. I believe this is fantasy, romantic fantasy. I don't know if it's shifter romance. Then I have The Venetian Betrayal by Steve Berry. And then we have A Cavern of Black Ice by J.V. Jones, the first book in the Sword of Shadows series. Then I have Joust by Mercedes Lackey. I think it's fantasy romance. The Magician's Nephew by C.S. Lewis. This is the first book in the Narnia series. Chronicles of Narnia. This is the only one I haven't read in the series. Deep Wizardry by Diane Duane, the second book in the Wizards series. What's it called? Young Wizards is it what it's called. I like that one, the first one. Sunshine by Robin McKinley. Blue Moon Rising by Simon R. Green. I don't know what type of book this is, but I think it's the first in the series. I also have Deathstalker, also by Simon R. Green, and it's mentioned on this book, so maybe I should read that first. The Slanderous Tongues by Mercedes Lackey. I got this randomly when I bought some books at a fantasy festival a couple of years ago, so I don't know. I don't think it's the first in the series or anything. So then I have Wyoming Christmas Ransom and Renegade Protector by Nico Rosso. I read Wyoming Christmas Ransom, but I still have to read Renegade Protector, so that's why it's on here still. And the same goes with this one, which has Wyoming Cowboy Protection, which I read. I think Hide the Child by Janice K. Johnson. I haven't read that one. We have Marked in Flesh by Anne Bishop, the fourth book in the other series. I need to get back to this series. Discount Armageddon by Sarah Maguire, the first book in the Encrypted series. This is on my TBR long list for the year. And The Amber Room by Steve Berry, also on my TBR long list, a standalone. The Venetian Betrayal I showed you earlier was the third book in a series. Now we are on the other cubicle shelves, second row. And these are all of the Warriors books. I'm currently working on this first one. The second one, Fire and Ice, Forest of Secrets, Rising Storm, A Dangerous Path, The Darkest Hour. Books 2 to 6 of the Warriors series by Erin Hunter. A Beautiful Poison by Lydia Kang. A Criminal Defense by William L. Myers Jr. A sort of legal thriller. Little Do We Know by Tamara Ireland Stone, a YA contemporary romance. How to Read a Book, The Classic Guide to Intelligent Reading by Mortimer J. Adler and Charles Van Doren. Wind Witch by Susan Dennard. The Long Way to a Small Angry Planet by Becky Chambers. And Throne of Glass by Sarah J. Maas. The Demon King by Cinda Williams Chima, the first book in the Seven Realms trilogy. Squire Terrence and the Maiden Knight by Gerald Morris. This is the first book in the Squire's Tales series. Midnight Never Come by Maria Brennan. I read some of the and I think this was gifted to me by one of my, again the same one that gifted the other book. And another shelf. Before They Are Hanged by Joe Abercrombie. This should be coming towards the front because it's the second book in the series and I have read the first one, so I don't know why it's hanging around here in the back. But you know, I have to find room for it as well. Same goes with this one, Saint's Blood by Sebastian de Castell. This is the third book in the Great Coast series. And again, this is the next one I have to read in this series. I read the first two books, really loved them. So I don't know why I haven't picked up the next one. And Tire's Throne is the last and final book in that series, also by Sebastian de Castell. Then I have Quiet, The Power of Introverts in a World That Can't Stop Talking by Susan Cain. This is a non-fiction as well. Another Heroes, Milton Boone double book bind up. The Secret of Shuttle Lake by Amanda Stevens and Point of Disappearance by Carol Erickson. Traitor to the Throne is the second book in the series, and I didn't love the first one, but I heard that the second one is better. So Passenger by Alexandra Bracken. This is the first book in a duology. Blood Song by Anthony Ryan. This is the first book in a series, I believe, and it's Raven's Shadow series, and I've heard really excellent things about Anthony Ryan, so can't wait to read his books. The Raven Tower by Anne Leckie. I have yet to read anything by Anne Leckie, but this is one of the fantasy books that she has. Then we have Gemina by Amy Kaufman and Jay Kristoff, the second book in the Illuminae Files. I didn't love the first one, but I was very intrigued, and I like the format of it. It's obviously all of these Dossier Files stuff, and I've heard that the audio goes really well with it. Now we are at a wonky angle because I can't get the tripod further down. I might try and see if I can do something, put it on a box or something, because I have some shelves that are even lower. So wait and see if I find something that to do when I get to that. In the back here we have the books 2 to 5 of the Demon Cycle. The second book is called The Desert Spear. It's really dusty on the back here, so all of my books has gathered a lot of dust. The Daylight War, the third book. The Skull Throne, the fourth book. And The Core, the fifth book. And these are all by Peter V. Brett. I read the first one, so I should get the Desert Spear in the front. I didn't love the book, but I liked it enough to continue. And I bought the book, all the books, before I actually knew what it was about. So I have Eon by Alison Goodman. I read her historical paranormal YA romance thing and really enjoyed them, so I hope that this is just as good. I have Red Shirts by John Scalzi and Ancillary Justice by Anne Leckie. I talked about it previously. How Long Till Black Future Month by N.K. Jemisin. This is a short story collection. Frankenstein by Mary Shelley. And Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde by R.L. Stevenson. Shadows of Self by Brandon Sanderson, the second book in the second era of the Mistborn series. How to Twist a Dragon's Tail by Cressida Cowell. Or Hiccup Horrendous Haddock III. It's the fifth book, I believe, in the series. Hounded by Kevin Hearn. This is on my TBR long list. This is the first book in the Iron Druid Chronicles, it says on the sticker. Planetfall by Emma Newman. We have The Way of Kings by Brandon Sanderson. I'm already working on this one. I read the first part in the book 1 in this, but it was expired at the library. Now I have the physical copy, so I will find some time to move along in the Cosmere universe. Jade City by Fonda Lee. This is on my TBR long list for the year. And I Døden og Videre, or In Death and Onwards by Jacob Kokkedal. This is the first book in the series Den Trofaste Bror, or The Faithful Brother. This is a cubicle that's a little bit messy, but it has some of the serious box sets I have. I don't know why I put them down here, but they are here. So I'm a little uncertain which one is first, but I have Sea Glass and Spyglass by Maria V. Snyder. These are books 2 to 3 of this Glass trilogy. I read the first one, so I should get the second one on the front. It's YA fantasy. I have Beware the Little White Rabbit. I really didn't like this one. It's a short story collection, and I have all of these weird tabs in here. Yeah. And then we have Alta by Mercedes Lackey. I believe it's the second book in the Joust, after Joust. I have A Death Dreams, Døde Drømme. Blackout. My cat is wanting to get in on this. Kom ud herfra. Kom. Du godt. Ja, du godt. Ja, du er så sød. I don't know. I don't remember which one of these is first, but A Dead Dreams by Kenny Bjarnason. I bought them all together. There are 3 short stories in here. And Blackout, also in the same trilogy thing, with 3 stories in each. Then I have a box of Narnia. We have The Lion, the Witch and the Wardrobe, The Horse and His Boy, Prince Caspian, The Voyage of the Dawn Treader, The Silver Chair, and The Last Battle. All books 2 to 7 of the Chronicles of Narnia series. I have read them all of these, but once I'm done with Magician's Nephew, I might move the whole thing to my red shelf. I have my brother's copy of The Lost World by Michael Crichton, the second book in the Jurassic Park series. Obviously, me and my brother has been obsessed with Jurassic Park, and but I never got around. I borrowed this so long ago, but I haven't found time to read it. Yeah. The next is, I don't know if I'm ever going to read them or like them, I don't know. But I have The Little House on the Prairie by Laura Ingalls Wilder. The Banks of Plum Creek. Little Town on the Prairie. The Shores of Silver Lake. The Long Winter. And The Happy Golden Years. These are all of the books in the Laura Little House on the Prairie series. I don't think it holds up today, so that's why I'm a little hesitant about it, but you know, I bought them at a pretty cheap deal. And some people absolutely love them for nostalgia reasons. I have The Eye of the World by Robert Jordan, the first book in the Wheel of Time series, and then I have The Great Hunt, the second book, and I have Dragon Reborn, the third book in the Wheel of Time series. And this is definitely one of the staples, and we'll see when I get around to it if I like it. I've heard that it deteriorates a little bit later, but the first books are super good. And then the last books are really good as well. We will see. I have a bag of bookish supplies. I think it's pens. No, these are all washi tapes. Look at that. Washi tapes. And I have a sort of, you can put a little notebook in here. I have never used it. Don't know what to do with it. These are more books from I probably could read now, but it is Lady Midnight by Cassandra Clare, the first book in the Dark Artifices series. The reason I have this is because we're super hyped. I don't really like Cassandra Clare's writing, but then I know the second book is narrated by James Masters, and so I'm down to listen to that. This is one I don't know. I think it's Danish. It's Strindberg Stjerne, The Star of Strindbergs by Jan Valentin. I have no idea if it's something I like. It says across a star separated for hundreds of years, disappeared in each of their own darkness. Together they are the key to the world's best kept secret. I have All I Know Now by Carrie Hope Fletcher. I started this one. I don't really care, but I don't know if I'm ever gonna get rid of it. Maybe I'll just move it to my red shelf and just pretend I read it. I don't know. I have Arcanum Unbounded by Brandon Sanderson. This is a collection of the short stories set in the Stormlight Archives. I think there might be a second collection now, but this is one that was the last one is Mistborn: The Secret History. So on this shelf I have a lot of Danish fantasy books. The first one is Sumpbaronens Rejse, The Swamp Baron's Journey by Christina E. Ebbesen. But I also have House of Leaf by Mark Z. Danielewski. This is one you're supposed to read in a specific way, I don't know which. Khaled for Galatea, A Recalling from Galathea by Natalie og Bettina Liane, the first book in the Arwen series. Vulkan Winter by Christian Inkilde, the first book in the Pandora series. I think it's a dystopian post-apocalyptic thing. I have The Institute by Stephen King, Blue Smoke by Nora Roberts, Dæmonens Spind or The Demon's Web by Mikkel Vendelbo, the second book in the Anya Fablen series. City of Stairs by Robert Jackson Bennett, the first book in the City of Stairs trilogy. And then I have a coloring book here called The Enchanted Forest. I've never even painted anything in here. Maybe I'll give this to my my niece. The first one I have here in the back here is the second book in the Borders to Trafalgar series called The Shadow from the North. This is by Julie M. Day. It should be getting in the front because I've read the first one. I have the last book in this series called The Last Alliance, also in the Borders of Trafalgar by Julie M. Day. Another one that should get into the front is The School for Good and Evil, The Last Ever After by Samantha Nani. This is the third book in the School for Good and Evil series. I think there are more books now, but at the time I bought this I thought it was a completed trilogy. But I like this one. It's sort of a weird mix of fairy tales, good and evil stuff. Star Cursed by Jessica Spotswood, the second book in the Cahal Witch Chronicles. I really love the first one, so yeah, should get to it. The Strange and Beautiful Sorrows of Ava Lavender by Leslie Walton. This was super popular just when I joined BookTube in 2016. I probably bought it right after. Enthralled, a collection, short story collection edited together by Melissa Marr and Kelly Armstrong. I think it's just paranormal romance short stories. I know a lot of these authors, so I'm looking forward to reading them. But haven't been in a short story mood in a long time, so we'll see when I get around to it. We have Skullduggery Pleasant by Derek Landy. This is the first book in the Skullduggery Pleasant series, and this is on my TBR long list for the year. I have Goth Girl by Chris Riddell, the second book in the Goth Girl series. I really like these books. They are filled with fun illustrations. They are obviously kids' books with very large text, but they're a joy to read because of the illustrations and everything, and they're super fast, obviously. Then I have a stack of shorter paperbacks. The first one is Watership Down by Richard Adams. This is a classic sci-fi dystopia fantasy-ish book. I don't know what to call it. I've heard that people get really sad when they read it, so it might be a very difficult read. Then I have Heir to the Empire by Timothy Zahn. This is apparently what was supposed to happen after the Star Wars movies, the original movies ended, and then Disney took its own spin on things and did it differently, but I'm interested. I've heard really excellent things about this. Then I have Silverthorn by Raymond E. Feist. This is the sequel to The Magician, and The Magician was actually 2 books in one, so I think this must be the 3rd book, but it's only the 2nd in the bookish. Yeah, it could also be considered the 2nd, but yeah. The Andromeda Strain by Michael Crichton. Once Bitten, Twice Shy by Jennifer Radin. This is the first book in the urban fantasy series. I mentioned earlier that I have books 2 to 4 in this series, so I hope I like it. Another Milton Boone, True Love, but this is The Princess and the Rebel Billionaire by Sophie Pembroke, and Cowboy in Disguise by Alison Lee. Looking forward to reading them both. I have read a story by Sophie Pembroke before and really liked it, so high hopes for that one. Then we have A Forest Mage by Robin Hobb, the second book in the Soldier Sun Cycle trilogy. I liked the first one, gave it 4 stars. I didn't love it as much as her Elderling books, but you know, it's Robin Hobb. She can write good fantasy nonetheless. And then I have the last one I have on this one is Barrier by Lois McMaster Bujold. This is the second one I'm supposed to read in this for Cosingham Saga. Sorry, my mind is elsewhere today. The last one on this row. I actually have 2 more shelves, cubicles after this. So at the back here we have A Time of Dread by John Gwynne. This is the first book in a spin-off series to the Faithful and the Fallen series. So once I'm done with that, I will move on to this one. But there's also he's also written a new fantasy series with dragons and Norse mythology, and it's super high praise. So I don't know if I'm going to pick that one up. Yeah. I really enjoy John Gwynne's writing, so can't wait to dive into more of his books. I don't know which one is second and which one is third, but I have Shadow Black by Sebastian de Castell, and also these are signed by the author because I met him at the Fantasy Festival, which was really cool. He had one of these yeah, stamp things, emboss things, I think that's what it's called. I also have Charmcaster by Sebastian de Castell. Then I have a book that I don't know if I'm ever going to be reading, but I own it, and that's Labyrinth by Kate Moss. I have The Way of Shadows by Brent Weeks, the first book in the Night Angel series. Taigana by Guy Gabriel Kay. I've heard excellent things about Guy Gabriel Kay, and I heard excellent things about this specific book, and it's a good starting place of his books as well. Then I have The Handmaid's Tale by Margaret Atwood, obviously super popular due to the TV series. I have The Problem with Forever by Jennifer L. Armentrout, a YA new adult-ish romance. I don't know if it's YA or new adult. Hold on, I don't like how this is going. I prefer it going sort of height down. Blackout by Connie Willis, the 3rd book in the Oxford Time Travel series. I have loved the first 2 books. The first one was 5 stars. I think the second one was a 4.5, but I definitely loved them both. They're excellent time travel series. I have 12 Kings by Bradley Beaulieu. This is the book I have on the TBR long list. I can't wait to read it. These books have so many different heights. And lastly on this shelf I have I'd Rather Be Reading by Anne Bogle. This is Delights and Dilemmas of Reading Life. A short little non-fiction. Now we're down to the last two shelves and don't have so many books left. Here we have my sort of from the time that I did some planning stuff. I stopped abruptly. I have a sticker book, never got around to use that. Oh, no books in the back. Whoa, that's the first time. First up I have Dig by A.S. King. I have When Did You See Her Last by Lemony Snicket, the second book in the All the Wrong Questions series. Caliban's War by James S.A. Corey, the second book in the Expanse series, yeah. Obviously it made into, I think, a Netflix show. Never saw it. Then we have The 100,000 Kingdoms by N.K. Jemisin, the first book in a trilogy called The Inheritance Trilogy. Night Play by Sherilyn Kenyon. This is the next Dark Hunter novel I have to read after I'm done with the one I'm currently reading, I believe. Legend by David Gemmell. I've heard that I should check out his stuff, and apparently this is a good place to start. Hamlet by William Shakespeare. Then we have Pegasus in Space by Anne McCaffrey, but I think this is the second one in the series. I don't have the first one. Same goes with Swordslinger by Jennifer Robinson. This is the second book in the series. I've read a book by Jennifer Robinson and I liked it quite a lot, so I'm looking forward to reading more by the author. But this is the second book in a different series. Then we have Arabella of Mars by David D. Levine. As I think this is a standalone sci-fi novel. Hunting Ground by Patricia Briggs. This is the second book in the... This is the one that follows Anna and Charles, but I've currently forgotten what this series is called. Last and finally on this shelf we have Lock-In by John Scalzi. This is on my TBR long list for the year. The last and final shelf is mostly my journals, bullet journals, so I don't think I am going to be showing you any of that. Apart from that I only have 3 books. And there's nothing in the back either. I can see that now. The first one is Project Hail Mary by Andy Weir. This is on my TBR long list for the year. Shorefall by Robert Jackson Bennett, the second book in the Founders trilogy. I love the first one, gave it 5 stars. Don't know why I haven't gone further, but I want to read it. I need to get back to it. The last and final book on my TBR is Isa by Elliot McNeil, also known as Elliot McGray. This is the 4th book in the World of Linearia series, and I love this series a lot. I think they become better and better, and I look forward to seeing how this one will turn out. So these were all of the physical books I have on my TBR for a long time now. I think they will last me a long time. Let me know in the comments down below if you have any of these books that you'd like me to read sooner. I haven't mentioned some of them that are on my TBR long list. You can see the video of that. I think I've already linked it above. But if you want to know more about them, then you can watch them on that. This took me so long to film, and it is so grey and dull every day, all days, so it's been difficult for me to find time to film. And it's no better today. It's overcast all day. The sun hasn't come out since the 23rd of December, and we are now on the 30th. So yeah. Anyway, hope you enjoyed this one. And yeah, if you liked the video, please give it a thumbs up. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and I'll see you in my next video very soon. Goodbye.